Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. And welcome to Revolutionary and Neighborhood Voices. And tonight, I brought you something special. I brought Lee Moore, who is bringing you grit, poetry in the streets of Lancaster. So, with that being said, I'm going to be quiet and let Lee Moore introduce himself.
What's up, y'all? I am Lee Moore, aka the Griot Giant. That is GRIOT again, GRIOT Giant. Uh, before I like to get the obvious out the way first. So yeah, I am a giant, 6'8", but I'm also a poet. I try to write, I try to write rhymes to make I try to make rhymes to inspire other people to be vulnerable themselves and to try to break the chains that got them. And I mean more that the chains that got them. I mean more like the trauma or the things that hold them back in life. With me, a lot of the shit I battle with is like childhood demons and even like trying to navigate through being a big guy and being someone with tinted skin or shaded skin, I like to say, but they're all the shades of each. Um, but I really try to do everything with my heart because I feel as though that's the easiest way to connect with people.
Well, I'm glad to have you on here tonight, man. And before we even start off this conversation, I want to get into something that you did a couple years ago, and it's called Summer's Day. Um, I think you did this in 2023. So if you want to talk about it a little bit before I play Summer's Day, um, definitely can because after that I'm gonna get into Summer's Day.
So I did this song with Ben Hope. He was a good friend of mine for years. We had this uh, idea in this dream to do a song together, and we kind of lost touch with each other. And then randomly, got to each other like 3, 4 years later. We were just in his living room, just chilling, vibing. He was playing these beats that he made, and I heard the beat, and I was just got inspired to do this love poem that I wrote. I was based off a writing prompt of if I could compare thee to a summer's day. Shakespeare. I literally used that as a writing prompt to create this. I heard the beat, and I was like, this will, I think, match up. And it kind of just blew up from there. And it kind of changed my way how I do poetry, how I approach poetry, and how I view it too. Because I wasn't expecting this to be as impactful as it was.
Well, with that being said, man, here is Summer's Day by Lee Moore, and we'll be right back right after this.
If I were to compare thee to a summer's day, you'd be the perfect day. Kids playing, sun shining, skin burning, happily enjoying the summer breeze as it dances gracefully through the trees to caress your heavenly scent face. Your essence erases, illuminating the shadows of broken smiles of true beauty that not even Da Vinci could replicate. Queen, you put kings in checkmate. As the heart rate fluctuates, mouth salivates, eyes gravitate to your ascending face as they fall for you. Like leaves the autumn brings, even though you make the moment freeze. As these butterflies sting like bees, I'm melting away like gooey cheese. As I try to keep my celerity when you're in front of me, My knees turn to jelly, palms turn sweaty, words hesitating as they come out, stuttering. Rum-bum-bum-bum, my heart racing in a marathon, beating harder than the drums of Mulan. Eyes glued on someone who's strong, pure heart, smart, who is true as she embraces herself, whose voice travels for miles in my ear canals and echoes on, creating avalanches, burying the men who act like the Huns, showing every man he can be a better one, who's worthy of someone like her, who's pure and warm, making every day feel like a summer dream. I'm on my knees wishing, pleading for your forgiveness, for losing my voice when I'm in your presence. I was tongue-tied cause I couldn't find the right words to describe. You are light.
That was Summer's Day. Lee Morr featuring Ben Oaks. So I want to get into this and I want to ask a couple questions. I got some questions written up for you. And the first thing that I want to ask, and so the viewers are able to get to know you, is that your poetry has a raw, unfiltered quality to it. What draws you to that style, and how does Lancaster, Pennsylvania, influence your work?
So I learned the hard way and through life. The easiest way to go about life is to live with your heart. So speak with your heart, speak with your gut. Always go with your gut. That's with everything. That's what I try to go drives my poetry. I lived in Lancaster pretty much my whole life. I lived all around PA through my teenage years. Uh, but Lancaster has always been home. I like to think there's a little Lancaster first. Anybody who has lived in Lancaster actually creates a tie in Lancaster, you'll always find it. They will always call you back no matter what. But but Lancaster is always is where place is home. You know, what I mean? You find a lot of find it quickly that it's your second.
Man, that's and that's crazy because a lot of people, they look at our color of our skin and they don't understand that even though that we may be black, we may be brown, we may be white, we all have a different story. Um, we all have a different, different walks of life, and that's what really, when I heard you and I watched a couple of your videos, and I'm like, we have such a you can hear the pain in the way that you speak, and it's crazy because I've come from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then you're in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, and it's like our stories aren't that much different, and it's crazy of how how we intersect the difference between of inner city Minneapolis and then Pennsylvania, and I like it. You know what I'm saying? I like the difference of styles. I like the difference of personalities, and that's why I'm eager for this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So people get to know you.
I
Um,
was I feel as though that's with everybody. We'll be I'm shocked at the amount of people that I met. Like I always been open to meet people because I felt very alienated myself, so I kind of refused to do that to somebody else. So I'm willing to talk to anybody who approaches me
right.
or
Mm,
willing to talk to me. Uh, but I really feel as though we really don't recognize like the amount of similarities we have in between not just us, but with every one of our neighbors. And it's crazy. My biggest thing is like 20 years ago when I was growing up, my neighbors knew my name. The whole block knew my name. The same with every kid that like we trusted each other with our like the neighbor. We trusted our neighbors with their like the neighbors' kids, and we had block parties. It was more of a community, and it's just crazy how like segregated we are now, and we were already segregated enough then,
right.
and the amount of walls and like it literally feels like we have oceans between us, even though we're only a foot apart. You know what I mean?
Right. No, you're definitely right about that. And that's what actually brings me into the next question is that, you know, in my opinion, it seems to me you write for the ones who have been through it. What experiences in your life have shaped your voice as a poet?
Well, uh, I like the best way I can describe is how I became a poet. So I like to start out like by saying when I was 5, I tried to commit suicide. Uh, it was and to try to make a long story short, I was raised by a racist lesbian who was had a gambling addiction and a alcohol addiction, and would go on these drunken rampages and would physically abuse me. And when I got taller, which was very rapid, my uncle, who was about a foot taller than me and another like 200 pounds at this point, would like kind of step in and take over the abuse and that. So for a long time, I felt as though I didn't have a voice because like I couldn't really speak upon it because I was raised on that like everything that happens at home needs to stay at home type of thing. But I had people I could talk to, but like I really was just didn't want to be taught with like I didn't want to be bothered, so I was very like irritable. Went through a bunch of IU13s and through like Phil Havens at a young age and stuff. So like I met people who were in even worse predicaments than like, with me, especially kids. Like there's countless kids that I have only momentarily known, both literally and like metaphorically, because a lot of them have passed away because of the things that have happened. Um, and I try not to be one of them. Try to forge a path, but a lot of the staff members in these placements or these uh, group homes I went were kind of like shaping us for the prison system. They weren't trying to shape us to go on the prison route. Like I was told the way I act, the way I talk, and everything was not acceptable in society, and that carried with me for a long time.
Let me
But
ask you a question. I don't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you a question real quickly. You know, I grew up you know, I made choices, you know, in life that brought me away from my family, and but actually, I was kind of bamboozled away from my family because they signed a paper and it like I was awarded the state, and the places it wasn't it didn't teach you how to you know what we're being taught now of like I shouldn't even say people are being taught now, you know what I'm saying, but uh, how to survive, you know, and that's the one thing is because I had to come up out the mud, and when I mean out the mud is like nobody helped me, nobody reached out to to grab me and steer me into a direction and be like, you know what, brother, you're going the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and maybe people did, but I, I honestly didn't take it that way. And I've been such a loner that when I write, you can hear it. And
mm,
that's honestly the way that I write is that I want the people to. It's just not about me. It's about every little boy that's been, you know, born in and raised and feels alone. And that's how I feel like every time that I hear you speak, especially when it comes to, and we're going to get into this later, is your performance at Concrete Rose. And it's, I don't really understand, like, maybe that's the wrong word, but uh, is if people listened and it just people would just shut up and just listen because there's so many stories out here, and just because you hear one doesn't mean that it covers everybody, you know what I'm saying?
it's just one part of the it's one part of the prison, bro. It's just one part of the prison, and like
Right.
I just I truly believe, like, because there's people who I know who write poetry who are saying that I would never speak this poem because it hurts too much or it's too vulnerable or I don't think it's going to come across well. And I keep saying, like, those are the best poems to spit because people, like, if you have the strength to spit that, that gives someone else the strength to go through what they need to go through when they hear it. And, like, that's what it's a chain reaction. Um, I like so to go back to your first question when you were asking me like what started the poetry. I had a random encounter with a poet, a famous local poet by the name of Terry Durden. She was my mentor, and there's a whole story, the crazy story about how life works with just Terry Durden that I have. If you guys want to hear it later, but she came to my school when I was about 8 years old, and I and made us all do poems. And at the time, like Dr. Seuss and like Shel Silverstein were like the only like poetry I knew. So like I kind of was like, okay, cool. But it was at a time where like I didn't like no one wanted to hear my voice, so that's what I would leave. You know what I mean? No one wanted to hear or see me. So she made us write a poem. I wrote a love poem, which I still actually have. I actually have my first poem still. Um, and she loved it so much that she wanted it to be submitted to a local poetry contest. Um,
Mm, mm, mm.
and the first time I felt validated and seen and like heard, and like it completely changed my life. And then like 2 weeks later, I didn't hear anything, and I was kind of like questioning, like, oh, maybe this was just another person who was just trying to like, you know, be momentary. And she called my school and freaking said that she lost the poem. She wanted me to rewrite it so she can send it to the contest. So I rewrote it. Um, Long story short, I didn't win the poetry contest. I am 100% positive that I lost to Thundercat. If you guys don't know Thundercat, Thundercat is an amazing poet, a local poet. She is absolutely amazing. Um, Check her out. It's not with ER, it's with an A. Thunder. Um, but she is part of Nobody's Pen. I'm a part of a collective too called Nobody's Pen, because nobody's pen is better than anybody else's pen, but this pen is going to do something. And I am honored to be a part of them because they go out trying to go through different schools and do different things for the community to try to help elevate the voice through poetry and through community.
Well, my next question is that many people associate poetry with softness, but your work has a harder edge. Do you ever feel like you're redefining what poetry can be?
No, to be honest, like the people who think poetry is soft, they only heard I guess only one side of poetry. Because I have heard poetry on heavy metal. I feel as though the most beautiful lyrics is through heavy metal songs. Like just people just don't want to give them a chance because all they hear is the heavy metal music, but and they never look into it. But I truly feel as though it's about the passion that people can give. Like Gil Scott Heron has his own tone. Barry White, I feel as though is a poet, a spoken word poet. Same with Luther Vandross. The way they can use a word, how to use a rhythm, I feel is just all about poetry. Like I feel as though poetry is at the root of things.
The next question I have is what is your process like? Do you sit down with a clear idea, or or does the poem take shape as you write it?
Uh, Sometimes, like the way my brain works, sometimes I just get like a random line in my head or a random line, and I write it down and branches off from there. And then eventually get like a writer's block, and I'll just leave it from there. And then I will continuously do that, and I will eventually have basically a whole collage of like paragraphs of poems, and I kind of just piece it together from there. Um, but there's other times like that I had to like put a little bit more thought and a lot more effort into it. Um, More, for example, the NBA poem that I have, I used every single basketball team for that poem, and I had to write down every single basketball team and then break down. Okay, what words can I use for double entendres? What words can I just use to break down something? Like, I say for the Timberwolves, I broke that down into 2 words. For 76ers, I instead of saying 76ers, I said 76, and I literally spelled ERS, the ERS. Um, What was another one I did?
Oh snap! I think we lost him. I think he'll be right back though. Even though we did lose him, he'll be right back. I'm not really too. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I don't know, maybe my phone, but he'll be right back. And while we sit here and are messing, having technical difficulties, um, I want to get into. Maybe he's back already. Yep, there he goes, right there. It's all right. Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Technical difficult.
Nope, that's what I said. That's what I was explaining. Like, hey, things happen. I wasn't going to get into a song early, but um, no, I'm glad about that. I don't even know where it was at.
Yeah, I don't even know where we're at. I got completely lost my train.
No, but
It
it's
happened.
all good. I'm gonna get you back on there, and because I'm gonna lead you up to a live performance here as well too here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I was going through which ones I was gonna try to like, do from that. So I guess I can either do a request, but I was gonna probably do a poem that completely just describes how I grew up, and I guess this
Yes,
was one of my first like poems that I did that started giving me the confidence to start doing spoken word and taking it more seriously. And I even used it for one of my poems. I used it for one of my pieces for my performance at the Ware Center. I did for the Live at the Red Rose, done by Avita Cologne, and that whole production and uh, that whole opportunity was just completely life changing for me. Uh, to really feel what the power of a word do to a person, to a group of people, and like you, people really misjudge uh, how easily we can connect to one another to do something positive.
now let me ask you a question because I know you performed at a couple of poetry events. Now, is it easier going somewhere where it's spontaneous, like open mic night, and you just got that feeling, you know what I'm saying, like you hear a poem? Because I've been in a couple of online open mics, especially on like Instagram, and I think the one's out of Philly, her name is I can't remember her name.
You talking about
She
complex things,
Yes, Complex Angel. Yep. And I've done you just hear other people, other poets, and it just brings something out of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you listen to other people when they explain what they're going through, no matter if it's a free form poem or if it's a Haraki poem or some kind of narrative poem. It just gives a style of understanding of how somebody came up, and I love hearing. I don't mind so much the beat, it's more about the words to me. You know what
right?
I'm saying? These
Once because a lot of people are immediately trying to like freestyle with beats and stuff, and like but they really like take away like honing what like the emotion you can just do with how you can like say a word, or like it's really tapping into your vulnerability. It's
right.
really into the emotions that you feel when you wrote it. Like, how did you feel when you actually wrote this? You didn't feel it when just to like make it hit or make it like, oh, this will be a nice. You had feeling behind that, and that's
Right.
what you have to dive into to like really get it across to people. And because that's the part where people coming up to you saying, "Yo, you completely inspired me to do this," or "You completely changed my life. You gave me the courage to do that," which is a consistent thing that I had the opportunity to be a part of, and like have people coming up to me saying that, which is like gives me fuel to like continue what I'm doing, because like I wish I had that, like growing up. Like it's hard to consistently like force through the thicket on your own without a machete. You know what I mean?
Right. And it is hard, and this is the question I have too. Is the next one is, do you see poetry as a form of survival for yourself and your audience? If so, how?
Like I completely because like whatever you're going through, you and like you even feel as though like you have no one to talk to, no one to turn to, you can write that shit down in the book. Like honestly, because like you the and you'll be surprised when you're angry or something like that, you begin to write. I guarantee you're right there for like 30 minutes, probably like more than likely because of how you're feeling. You just want to get everything out. But that's why like depression hits harder because everyone wants to keep everything in and bottled in, and it's just gonna fester and be toxic. And like and then it is hard to change. It's hard to take that risk, but like that's what life is. We have to be outside of our comfort zones. We have to take the gamble of being outside our comfort zones to make amazing things happen, make amazing opportunities happen. Like my whole spoken word poetry like career began at an open mic that I randomly signed up to, and I wasn't even trying to do the like I wasn't trying to spit my poetry. I was trying to have it someone else read it for me, who offered to read it for me, but they called me up on stage instead. So I had all these random eyes staring at me. One of the worst things ever because
Right.
but I had a decision to make. I can like say no and walk off and sit down, or I can just like I don't know these people. I'll never see these people again. You know, I was like I'm just
Right.
gonna stop. And from there, I immediately got offered to spit at the Imperial, which is another place I never even thought I would step foot into because it is very upscale and like I feel as though I ain't gonna talk slander on that, so I ain't gonna try to get sued. But it's just not yeah, it's just not a vibe that I thought I would be welcomed at, and to actually be like, well, like to be invited there and be like a like one of the speakers was a huge deal for me. I was kind of mind blown. And I did that, and it kind of just kept snowballing, and then like kept opportunity and opportunity kept coming up, and I kept getting introduced to different people, and they were showing me different things, and I kept just going and going and going, and it's just crazy what life leads you like. So Terry Durden is not only my mentor, but also the mentor of Vita Colon, who is who curated the Live from the Rose at the Rare Center. She was she had she had a spot called the Concrete Rose, was an open mic at a winery and bookstore. So that was black owned and queer owned, which was the first I believe in the world to do that in the state. Uh, but it was it's crazy because like I haven't seen Terry Durden so many. I haven't seen her since I was 8 years old, and she randomly just comes in the concrete roads, and I randomly just sit next to her, and there's something I feel familiar about her, and she spits a poem, and I believe it's just, I honestly feel to my soul it's the same poem that she spit at my classroom that day, and immediately knew it was her, and I broke down, and she told me that she grew up or she mentored Evita's mom. Evita grew up with her and everything, and it was just crazy how life really brings everything together and surrounds you with the people you're destined to be surrounded by.
All right. No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Now, if you don't mind, this is a time where you can do a live performance, and I want to give you that space to be able to do your thing. So, with that being said, man, I want to here's Lee Moore, and he's gonna do it to you live.
Word. So yeah, I'm gonna start it like this. 5'5" when I was 8 years old, being grown but not up. A society that treats you like an adult but a child, a home leaves you with really nowhere to go. So how many of y'all really wish to be tall, to be alert, a freak? Mm. I want to show you the perspective of a giant who doesn't like standing on his 2 feet. When door frames are your worst enemy, you better be ducking concussions from dime a dozen. Can't stretch because my hands go through the ceiling, fearing the fan that's rotating like my head that's spinning if I stand too quickly. I hope y'all still with me. Bones Morse code and pop lock and saying stop moving. Feet dangling off of every bed, angling like you're fishing. Sleeping in the fetal position, the only way you're fitting. Seeing Haley's comet, more common than finding fabric that doesn't affect your breathing. Man, God must have been a rich boy for throwing some dubs on my feet. They're sticking out like they're spinning. My body going in the opposite direction every time sports is mentioned. So I don't get asked the same 21 questions. I give you 50 cents if you don't give me your 2 cents explaining how you think I'm big for nothing, but the opinions kept flying. Young me couldn't handle it, started dishing out 4-piece McNuggets like I was loving it, but I hated it. See, I've seen enough violence in my life. I didn't wish to be the cause of it. But they seen the big kid and was like, street cred. But they were writing checks they couldn't cash, and I got labeled as dangerous for what? Defending myself? Man, everyone saw Goliath when I was really a David, but that didn't prevent the affidavits coming in. See, I was a victim of people's assumptions, but that didn't prevent me from helping. Even though the people were screaming when they saw the giant coming, like I was fee fi for fun. That's why Shrek is relatable. John Coffey, my spirit animal, because even though they were fictional, they understood what I was going through. But now, do you? Be grateful for the gifts that made you your own individual. Don't be blindly wishing, because that's how the genies be tricky. That's poem.
Man, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Do you got another one?
Oh yeah, yeah. I can do I can do my fee-fi for fun one. But the kind of backstory of that is basically oh, that's basically one of my first poems. I like kind of like wanted to like be vulnerable or trying to like tap into that vulnerable side of me, or like kind of peel back the layers. But now I'm kind of like open door now because like I feel I'm surrounded around the right people like you, circumstantial saint, cool right, Vito Colon, like they're like they're guiding me. Everybody knows Buddy's pen. Like I'm surrounded by people and that want to elevate other people, and like we can only grow with each other. But yeah, I
Right.
got enough. Um, and to shout out to everybody from the tall crowd. I know how it is. I love y'all. For the short people, it sucks. Like I wear a size 20 shoe. Try to find out. So I can't go to the mall and get that. But I usually use that as a pastime. Like, if I'm bored, usually go to like a Foot Locker see if they got like my size knowing the dang over there. Yeah, it's super entertaining. You gotta find things to entertain yourself. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got another one for you. If you guys want to hear another one about being tall, or I can spit my NBA one. I can spit anyone if you got a request, bro.
Let's hear your is it NBA?
You want to hear NBA?
Yes.
I got you.
All right.
NBA. Navigators bombing America. What happened to the Trailblazers? I know that most are corrupted or killed off faster than pistons moving through an engine. Wizards convincing Raptors to follow Pacers while forcing Hornets to make Nets their home. For every timber, wolves surround the area so they can control the narrative. It's magic. On how they can turn waves into mavericks. How deep wounds get treated like little nicks or non-existent. How anything that grows they take clippers to. They feel the sun's heat, yet they still sickle. They're in the sun's light, yet they still a shadow, ready to push a button and send rockets at anything that bear witness to their destruction. Grizzlies. Grizzlies become bunnies, hawks turn into butterflies. I'm tired of being desensitized by people with spurs that they butt crack. And you may laugh, but these are the same people who prevent kings and queens from knowing their world and their wealth, like bulls unwelcomed in a glass house. They want to distract us while they make the big bucks for us to mindlessly eat fake nuggets and be at each other's throats to see destruction instead of unification when they peer out their windows, relaxing, listening to jazz music as they sell their souls. I stand exhausted at the crossroads, looking for a lake, oars in hand, because I'm ready to jump ship. I'm tired of seeing Cavaliers turn fiendish, only dashing to catch another body, only being attentive to the NBA profile. It's 76 again. It's 76 ERs, enough to fix the damage that this society has caused. We are Zeus's with lightning, yet get treated like thunder in the belly. Dreams getting dismembered, severed, sending masses like the Tartarus were the shared chains with Chronos. But I know that I don't have to be from Golden State to be a warrior. But what can one person do when the people are more concerned with nonsense? Like when the Pelicans beat the Celtics. I know I look like a ball player, but the NBA is not my game. If I can make my pen do layups and slam dunks as I watch and enjoy your jaw drop with my words of ink flow. Home.
Damn, I love that, boy. You know what's
Three.
crazy is, damn, people just don't understand. And it's like, when you listen to the words and people's passion comes out, it makes a whole world of a difference. A
It
whole world
does.
of a
It
difference.
does. Like I honestly like to be able to like just to hear like every author's like how if I could hear of every book be read by the author who written the book, I
Right.
would hear their interpretation of it. Like it's just like when you read a book and your imagination paints who the characters look like and everything else. It's
Right.
kind of thing, man. And like I really wish people were really take the chance to tap into a thing they may be scared to show. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I thought I'd be like completely ridiculed like for a little while. Like my good friend Bees, Colin, he goes by Bees. The name is Kyle Bees. I met him randomly. He's one of my closest friends. He gave me a notebook because he loves making music. I randomly get it to give him like lines or a paragraph that I was inspired to when I was hearing them. And he just gave me a notebook and a pen. And he's like, "Here, I want you to write everything that you think of in this book, and I want you to do it for yourself, and I will help you create your own music." And that kind of just led to my first performance of spoken word, just doing that exact thing. And it's funny, it's just crazy how one spark can just ignite a whole fire. And people just take that for granted. Miracles can happen every day. Shit happens every day. It's hard. I know yesterday was hard to get over, but are you really gonna let it stop you for tomorrow? Though, do you like? Because like I know how it is to not want to see tomorrow,
Right.
and like you know what I mean. But like
That,
you see the beauty in the day. You know what I mean? Like there's
right.
like you have to like you, like I love watching like sunrises and sunsets and seeing like the uniqueness of like clouds every day because it's never the same formation. It's something unique every single time, and like that keeps me going because like I will see something beautiful guaranteed every single day. Something
Right.
else I can enjoy every single day, and that's just one thing, and that's the only thing I need. And like the second thing I do every single day is I try to create a genuine smile or genuine laugh because that will trigger a whole chain reaction. Uh, but that's how I kind of just manage through because like I feel as though if I am around healing, I get healed myself. It's like being around the chimes and the hertz tones. That's what it is for me. It's some healing vibes and then healing, being around people who are healing and being in a good mood. Kind of it makes it easy to forget yesterday and you're enjoying today.
Right. No, and I definitely agree on that. And I have a performance that you did at Concrete Rose, and it's Fee Fi Fo Fum.
Yeah, that's
Um,
my other tall perspective poem. Because I constantly it's a the poem speaks for itself, but it is it is a hassle being tall sometimes, and like I appreciate the beauty of being tall, appreciate the advantages of being tall, but the disadvantages of being tall never get spoken upon, and
Right.
and only the advantages have like get shed light upon. And I kind of wanted to take that and change people's perspectives because it, sometimes it's very being tall means worry about your property being invaded, being just having people just randomly coming up to you, and like basically being a celebrity. And like I'm not trying to say that egotistically, but I'm basically like having a paparazzi. Can you still hear me? That's what I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, we get it. You're still good.
Hey, I'm still good. But it's basically I have it's like having paparazzi almost because either people want to take pictures of you or want to take a picture. Like people want to take a picture of my shoes. Like they ask me to take my off to take pictures with them, my shoes and everything. And it feels like I'm like I have a paparazzi thing, and it feels like I have to cater to these people because like I am tall. I don't want them to immediately call, oh, there's an aggressive tall black male, and have a whole issue from like telling like a Ken or a Karen no. And so you'll find out eventually if you play the song, bro.
Right. It speaks for itself. And with that being said, man, here goes Lee Morr with Fee Fi Fo Fum location. And this is from A Concrete Rose.
Yep, host Sir Dominic
Cool.
Jordan.
So this last poet coming up here to do the damn thing is one of my favorite poets. To see his growth, to see just the shift in his writing, and him pushing himself on a regular basis is pouring into my cup on the regular. So I'm excited to see what he got for us. Do me a favor, y'all. Snap it up and clap it up for Lee Morr one time, y'all. Let's get it, Lee Morr.
5, 4, thumb. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Fee, fi, fo, fum. When I go in a new room, just crossing the street, I see the jaws hit the concrete swift. Eyes rising, glued on me, like the grip of their belongings when they see me coming. Body tensing, every step that I take triggering a fight or flight reaction. Even me saying, hey, how you doing? Has people ready to go Mach 10 in the other direction. What is it? Is my skin too tinted? Am I horribly disfigured? Y'all not liking my outfit? Do I smell some foul or some shit? No? Then what is it? Is it because I'm as big as a mountain, but you're not willing to see the gentle heart that lies within it? That's when I'm reminded of that phrase, each word resonates. Feed. Every day I feel I gotta pay. More for basic necessities or just simple understanding. The reality is, my society has height restrictions. If you're too big, you can't shop at most locations except for Gabe's and Burlington. Can't fit in most vehicles because it's too compacted, like fitting a full hot dog inside Vienna. So I have to pay big money to fill the gas guzzler so I could go to the tailor to get tailored so I can breathe. But when I take a seat, I don't have to worry about the seams breaking or the fabric impinging. 5. I'm gonna use the 13th century definition. Yes, I am disgusted. You can't fathom the depths I'm willing to go to express it. I don't feel like a person, I feel like an attraction. I said I don't feel like a person, I feel like an attraction with no admittance. Manners go out the window when you see a giant. It's never, hey, how are you? What is your name? How is your day? Instead it's, how tall are you? What sports did you play? Can you reach that for me?
And it doesn't matter what's happening. I could be on a date, late, eating with my family, or be in a whole conversation already. A stranger, making themselves a priority because they can't control their own curiosity. That is rude to me. And I can't confront it. Because the next thing you know, people cop calling saying Goliath about to eat this Ken or Karen. And then my face getting plastered, then paraded on some cotton with the hashtag Justice for Giants. Foe. My enemies are as follows. Door frames, low tables, and anything that's dangling from the ceiling. To whomever thought that 20 versus 1 was a fair fight, they complain to your mommies and daddies that you got your butt whooped. To whomever goes out their way to cause more suffering is no friend to me. Be lucky I'm not shoving my fist down your esophagus and past your tummy and then going between your booty cheeks. And no, I am not a ventriloquist. Even though I bring a new meaning to shit talking, I'm being dead serious. Thumb. Rule of thumb. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated. That's why I go out my way helping others. Because no one out helped me in my time of need. Pay it forward. I go out my way to compliment others, to give recognition, to applaud their efforts. I felt belittled my whole life. Why not break the cycle? I go out my way every day to create a smile, because laughter may not be a cure, but it is medicine. I'm never out of stock. I don't care how silly or goofy I have to look, it's worth it. If I can make you forget about what you're going through for just a moment. And I don't care if you're my best friend or a stranger. What you see is what you get with this giant who's just trying to be human. While these words are repeating, fee, fi, fo, fum. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Fee, fi, fo, fum. As you can see, that phrase isn't new to me. It's repeated to me daily, either in my own mind or how I see people reacting to me. Home.
Wow. Wow.
Good time. Good time.
Damn. If you listen to the words, you know what I'm saying? It's what people don't understand is you can get so much from a person by just listening to the words, by just listening to them. It doesn't mean you gotta like them or anything like that, but listen to the words if you want to understand them.
Exactly. You'll be really surprised. I literally I met a couple of homeless people. I love, like I said, I love like just talking really to anybody. So like again, I got kind of have every like a variety of people who come up to me just because of fault to try to talk to me. And like the number one stars are like drunk people. So that's a whole hassle. But like I love connecting with homeless people because their stories are like crazy. And a lot of people like really like look at them differently when like I know a whole family whose house burned down. I believe it was all on Duke, no, not Duke Street, Plum and Chestnut in Lancaster here. Due to foundation issues, the house burned down. They couldn't get their house fixed because of foundation issues. And from what I know, that family remains homeless. There's a bunch of families for 9 months. But I just there's so many stories and people look down because of people's predicament, and it's so crazy how easy like people look down on each other just because of like a person's dirty clothes or they didn't get a haircut or their beard's like messy or something like that or
Right.
smell a little funky and like that's you can't judge people just based off of that. You don't like people's water could have got shut off for like weeks, or their electric could have got shut off. They're taking cold showers and they're freaking going and running to the Y or Planet Fitness to get showers every day.
Right. Well, and
Like
that's one question that I had to ask you too is like, if somebody read your body of work, what is one poem or what is one piece that perfectly represents you? Like, if you wanted somebody to know everything about you, what is like,
P5O come. If you wanna know me to my core, I think P5O come like sums it up. Because honestly, I am very like what you see is what you get. You know what I
right,
mean? I am I'm a very old soul. I want to connect with everybody. I want to be a community. I wanna try and focus on being a community again before it's too late.
too
And
late, right?
I want to, like I said earlier, I want to be the me that the past me needed, and I want to create outlets because there's so many people who had it worse than me growing up that like I know that over time there's even more stories out there. There was a thing I did at the Ware Center with Lincoln Middle School where kids had the option of doing spoken word, and we encouraged them to it, and a lot of them actually did, which was amazing on their own, being able to speak in front of two different schools and on stage with a microphone. That right there is a achievement in itself. But how vulnerable these young souls was, I was crying, I was sobbing because of how the the stories I was hearing, and it was crazy because no, they wouldn't have told anybody else. Otherwise, they would have hold on to that for another 15, 20 years, or either when it was tearing them up so bad, while either trying to face down a bottle or a barrel, to be honest, just to put it blunt. And like, I just want to show people that another option is there, that doors can be easily open as soon as you like. It's up to you to open your mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed. And like
Right. No,
you,
and that's totally true. Is that closed mouths don't get fed, and that's one thing that I want to ask too. Is that something you haven't explored in your poetry yet, but you want to in the future? And is there anything that you want to risk doing that nobody can imagine you doing, but yet you do it?
I try to surprise people as much as I can. I don't. I'm not on anybody else's agenda. I'm just trying to be myself, because I feel as though that's the best way you can go about it. And there's things that I want to do. There's things I'm planning on doing that are in the works. There's things that I'm trying to get approved. Hopefully, grant one for my community, which would be awesome. But something I'm trying to do for my future right now is I'm trying to put my poetry and create an album with my closest friends, with circumstances same with anybody who was looking. But I am currently making a 14 track album, showcasing the sides of me and how I can and try to tell y'all stories at the same time. But I had the honor and the privilege to see what can happen. Like this all happened within 2 years. The amount of people, the amount of connections I know from 2 years ago. If I was talking to the person I was 2 years ago, believe. I wouldn't even believe me like that. The
Right.
things I've done, the opportunities of the people I know, and I don't say that egotistically because I was more of a homebody because the guys to the point that kind of constantly felt harassed being tall and being so like I was in children youth for most of my adolescence, like from like 13 to 19, and like that's really all like experience was like behind closed doors or behind bars or behind a metal door that like, and I had to navigate through that and also be around all these tragic stories and people who are either going through it worse or better, but also seeing how manipulative and evil people could be too in that time, because a lot of things happen behind closed doors, and a that doesn't get vocalized more too, because a lot of the systems and a lot of the programs are evil. They're very evil. That's a whole nother thing. But I'm just glad that I didn't turn out the way they were forcing me to turn out, and I'm showing people who grew up similar or are going through it now that there is people who want to hear you. I want to
Right.
hear
Right.
you. So
And,
like, you know what I mean? And I'm not I won't turn you away. I want to hear it.
and that's one last thing that I want to ask you is if you could leave your audience with just one message through your poetry, what would it be?
I want to hear you. Here's the microphone. Come join me. Come join me. I want
Right.
to inspire you to write and do the same thing that I'm doing, and connect with people and surprise yourself on how far you can go by going outside your comfort zone for just one moment. One
Right.
moment, my entire life, me deciding in front of all those people I didn't know to spit up home in front of them completely. This is how I am now, 2 years later. And
What
I
did,
couldn't imagine, I couldn't been more grateful. I couldn't been more honored, and I'm just, it's hard to kind of like accept sometimes because like I just
right.
the the, the encouragement and the validation that people try to give me is kind of hard to accept. But I try to do my best and humbly, because I feel as though being humble goes a long way.
Right. Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. And I want to thank you so much for coming on here, man. Thank you for coming on to Revolutionary Neighborhood Voices. This is our second episode. You're our second guest. Corell we had on last night, and tonight we had on Lee Morr, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And I'm just grateful for the chance to let the world see there's so much other people out here other than a Master P or a Little Wayne or Little Baby or Future. There's people out here that actually are talking about something. It's not talking about how many baby mamas or how many chicks they're with
Thank
that night. You know what I'm saying? There's like people out here actually really talking about stuff. So thank you very much, Lee, for coming on here. And with that being said, I want to give you the last final thoughts, whatever you want to get out to the audience tonight. So I'm gonna be quiet and let you finish this out.
Thank you, brother. Please follow the Urban Conservative if you haven't already. Please follow me. Please follow Circumstantial Saint. I will keep you posted on new things. I have a new song will be secretly releasing soon on the Hush House on the DL. But yeah, keep in store. I got some stuff in store for y'all. Some surprises. I want to gift y'all your own voice. I want to encourage y'all that your voice is so much more powerful than you believe it is. Peace.
Well, y'all know what it is, man. This is the Urban Conservative. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, and wish us well, and y'all have a great one. See you next
Peace.
night, tomorrow night. Peace out.